Welcome to This Explainer. So if you're here, I'm guessing you probably love coffee, but maybe you're looking for a bit more than just that quick morning caffeine jolt, right? You want to actually uncover that hidden symphony of flavors in a truly great cup. Well, today we're going to entirely demystify the tasting experience. We're going to train your palate together, taking you step by step through exactly how to spot and really appreciate all those intricate little notes hiding right there in your daily brew.
It seems like a really simple question, doesn't it? What does a great cup of coffee actually taste like? I mean, let's be honest, a lot of us are drinking pretty basic, kind of muddy coffee every single day. We might even love the ritual of it, but there's often this lingering thought in the back of our minds, could this be better? And honestly, if it were better, how would we even know? For a lot of folks, coffee just tastes like, well, coffee. And calling it anything else can feel, frankly, a little pretentious. But that standard commodity cup, the one that's usually roasted just to maximize shelf life instead of flavor, that is literally just the starting line.
Okay, let's dive into this. Just think about this idea for a second. I want to convince you that coffee tastes like music. It sounds super poetic, right? But it's actually remarkably accurate. You see, coffee contains this whole array of intense, distinct tastes. It's got natural bitterness, it's got natural sweetness, and yep, it has acidity. Think of these flavor characteristics as individual instruments in an orchestra. When you listen to a gorgeous piece of music, sure, you could focus in and pick out the sound of just a cello or a single violin, but what makes the experience actually moving is how beautifully they all blend together.
Think about it like this. In music, if the balance is off, let's say one instrument is playing completely out of tune, the whole song instantly becomes distracting and just awful to listen to. Well, coffee works the exact same way. If an acidic or bitter note is too loud, that unbalance creates this harsh, abrasive edge that completely ruins the brew. But when the acidity and the sweetness blend perfectly, that's when you hit harmonious balance. Think of an apple and an orange. They have totally different levels of acidity and sweetness, but when they're perfectly ripe, they're both delicious because they're absolutely balanced. A truly great coffee shouldn't have any harsh edges at all. It should just feel incredible to drink.
Section 1. Deconstructing taste, acidity versus bitterness.
To really appreciate a harmonious symphony, we first need to figure out what individual instruments are actually playing in our cup. So let's deconstruct the two biggest, and honestly the most misunderstood flavors. First up, acidity. Now, I know, acidic sounds like a bad thing, right? But it's absolutely crucial. It's what gives coffee its brightness and balance. It extracts first during brewing and presents as these lively flavors. Think lemon, green apple, or cherry. If your brew time is too short, your coffee is under-extracted and it's going to taste sour enough to literally make you pucker. On the flip side, we have bitterness. This is the one that turns a lot of people off. It presents as dark chocolate, spices, or roasted nuts, and it's the very last thing to extract. So if you over-extract your coffee, like say using a grind that's way too fine, it leans heavily into this dry, harsh bitterness. As a general rule of thumb, lighter roasts naturally lean a bit more acidic, while darker roasts lean more bitter.
Section 2. The Practical Guide. The Split Cup Experiment.
Now what's really interesting here is that just talking about acidity and bitterness, that's only going to get you so far. You actually have to taste these extremes yourself to truly train your palate. So here is exactly how you can do the split cup experiment right in your own kitchen. You're going to want to use a light to medium roast coffee to make the differences really stand out. Set up your manual brewer and dial in a 1:15 coffee to water ratio. That's 15 grams of ground coffee to 225 grams of water, and you're aiming for a total brew time of about 3 minutes. Start pouring your water, let it brew as normal, but here is the trick. Exactly at the 1-minute mark, swap your coffee mug out for a second cup. Then, right at the 2-minute mark, swap that cup out for a third cup and just let the brew finish. You're going to end up with 3 totally distinct cups, all from one continuous brew.
Okay, so what did you just make? Well, when you taste cup 1, which has the first third of the brew, it should be notably sour. Borderline unpleasant, honestly. Remember, acidity extracts first. Lock that specific flavor right into your memory. Next, go ahead and taste cup 2. That intense acidity, totally gone. It'll be sweeter, but noticeably kind of dull and dry. Finally, hit cup 3. This is the very end of the extraction. The bitter flavors are front and center right now, giving it a heavy body with this lingering dryness, almost like a dark red wine. On their own, each cup is deeply unfulfilling. But here is the magic part. Grab a big mug, pour all 3 of those cups in together, and give it a really good stir. Boom. You've just created a round, delicious, beautifully balanced cup. The unpleasant acidic notes of that first cup literally counteract the dry, bitter notes of the third. Experiencing exactly how they even each other out, that is the absolute key to training your palate. Section 3. Moving beyond muddy. Finding flavor clarity.
Once your tongue actually understands these extremes, we can start elevating your overall perception of flavor. And this brilliantly illustrates the real difference between just an average cup and a truly phenomenal one. Your baseline commodity cup is often what we'd call a muddy brew. The flavors are just this blurry mush. They're incredibly hard to pick apart. If you had to give it a color, it just tastes vaguely red or maybe brown. But as you improve your brewing to hit that perfect balance of extraction, you unlock what we call flavor clarity. Suddenly, that mush gives way to crisp, completely distinct flavors with clear character. It shifts from just tasting like coffee to maybe tasting vividly fruity or wonderfully floral. It definitely takes a little time and effort to find the exact words to describe it, but this clarity, it makes the drink profoundly more enjoyable.
Section 4. The neuroscience, how your brain tastes.
Let's move on and see how this builds into something even more fascinating. You might actually think all of this tasting is happening right on your tongue, but true clarity and flavor are created entirely inside your head. No way, right? But the magic doesn't happen in your mouth. It happens in your olfactory bulb. Fun fact for you, up to 80% of what we perceive as flavor is actually smell. The aromas coming off your hot coffee are just volatile organic compounds, literally tiny bits of chemistry floating in the air. It isn't until they hit your olfactory bulb and interface with your brain that they get conjured into the conscious sensation we call flavor. And your brain pulls a bit of a magic trick here. Coffee has almost too many aromas, so your brain actively has to filter out the noise and pick specific clues to build a picture of the flavor. It's exactly like how you couldn't feel your clothes resting against your skin a second ago, until I just mentioned it, right? Your brain was taking that information in, but filtering it right out. When you taste coffee, your brain combines the aroma, the acidity, and even your own past memories to build a flavor picture that is completely unique to you.
So the absolutely crucial point here is how all of this comes together. The harmonious balance of acidity and bitterness, the crisp clarity of flavor, and that incredibly unique picture built by your brain. Because when it does come together, it creates a real, powerful emotional resonance. A truly great cup of coffee shouldn't make you want to reach for a glass of water to wash away some harsh aftertaste. Instead, it brings about this beautiful, subtle sadness when you go for that final sip and realize the cup is empty. And instantly, it leaves you eagerly anticipating tomorrow's brew.
So now that you know the different instruments playing in your cup and you've got the practical tools to isolate them and understand their harmony, a big question remains. What will your coffee taste like tomorrow morning? You really no longer have to settle for a muddy brew. Great coffee is this wondrous little thing that you can sprinkle into your everyday life just for a bit more joy. And honestly, chasing that perfect balance is half the fun. So use this knowledge, train your palate, and explore the clarity. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope your next brew is absolutely spectacular.